Stop treating every solicitation like it's an RFP. You're making it harder than it needs to be. In this video, I'm going to go over the different types of solicitations that are used both by state and federal agencies. An RFP, request for proposal. Typically, these are issued by both state and federal agencies. In these situations, the dollar amount definitely can vary. However, for these type of opportunities, the emphasis tends to be placed on you showing them what you can do, having some type of past performance, as well as having a team who can provide the opportunity to make it all happen. So for example, there was an opportunity with the USDA where they wanted virtual and in-person technology and other type of training. For that RFP, I had to provide the following. Keep in mind, our final proposal ended up being over 100 pages. In there, I had to provide volumes, I had to provide resumes, letters of commitment, signed letters of commitment, as well as provide very detailed information about previous projects, how we were going to do the work, as well as how we were going to manage the variety of task orders. Why? Because that particular opportunity varied anywhere from $4 million to $20 million, depending on the opportunity or the solicitation that they put out. So as a result, they wanted more information. Anytime the dollar value tends to be really high, or if it's a very important project, it could be mold removal. That's important. We have to have it removed. So they're looking for you to go into detail on how you're going to do it. Do you have past performance doing it? What kind of materials? What kind of chemicals? How are you going to go about doing it? So they're asking and requiring of you more information in comparison to a request for a quote. Typically, a request for a quote on the federal side, they're just looking for the lowest. How much is it going to cost? You know, we need some Oculus headsets. How much is it going to cost? We need some Meta goggles. How much is it going to cost? We need the wall painted. How much is it going to cost? For these type of opportunities, the emphasis tends to be on price. There was a situation where there was a solicitation for an exercise physiologist in Oklahoma. The incumbent had to work for 5 years, and the evaluation criteria, it was price. It was basically a request for a quote. I went in, undercut, still walking away with a really nice profit, anywhere from 10 to 20%, and ended up winning that work. Because you want to play the game based on the rules, not on your rules, not your expectations, on theirs. On the state side, they may call this an invitation for a bid. They may give it a different name, but the evaluation criteria, it's the same. It's based on price. An invitation for bid, for some states, it may be something that you mail it in and they open it in front of people, or there may be some ceremony where they open the email. Again, varies based on the state, city, municipality. But at the end of the day, their strongest criteria is price. There's no emphasis on resumes, letters of commitment, bonding, insurance, any of that. They just want to know who has the best price. No different than you. You may spend hours online looking for the best price. The government is no different. The government is made up of people. Never forget that. Next, requests for information, also known as a sources sought notice, often in the federal space, meaning, who can maybe provide this? Who can do that? Who can give me these mugs? Who's able to do that? Tell me about these mugs. Maybe show some photos. What they're doing is kind of browsing. They want to know more information. And sometimes for an RFI or sources sought notice, they may actually give you detailed questions that you have to respond to. The mistake is that people think, oh, I'll just send them my capability statement, or I'll just send them this package. No. It is always based on what they ask for. Can you give them a little more by including images? Of course. Can you give them a little more by including testimonials or past performance questionnaires or evaluations and CPARs? Of course. But if all they're asking for at the end of the day is for you to answer the questions and you ignore the questions and give them something else, they're going to be left thinking, oh, wow. They couldn't even follow the instructions. Why would I give them a contract? And there are very explicit instructions on the federal side, regardless of the solicitation type. Sometimes they will provide font size requirements, page requirements, all types of requirements. So when it comes to an RFI and a sources sought notice, you're enticing them because what you want them to do is to make a direct award to you. You want to convince them, hey, there is at least 2 of us small businesses who can do this work and you need to bring that here. That's what you want to do. Even if you're including a subcontractor in an RFI situation or a sources sought notice, it doesn't matter. Include information on them, include images, include more about who they are, but just make sure you follow their instruction. I have a bonus strategy. Sometimes in a RFI or sources sought notice, you may be asked to provide a rough order of magnitude. In other words, what's your estimate? So don't just throw in there, oh, it's going to cost $10,000 to paint the wall. You want to provide as much detail as possible and include that you are open to giving them a 1% discount in exchange for being paid within 10 business days or 2 business days or 5 business days. We will offer a percentage off of this rough order of magnitude. We all love a deal. There isn't anyone out there who doesn't like a deal. And the federal government, as well as state and local, are no different. Same applies at the state and local side. There may be times where they ask for a cost estimate, although they're in a fact-finding, information-gathering situation. The more detail you can provide, the more you are setting it up like a discount, the better. We've all experienced it. You go to a store, sale, 20% off, 40% off, going out of business. But they never go out of business. They always have a sale, right? This is where the psychology of consumerism and marketing comes into play because you want to make sure you set it up so that they feel and know, hey, I'm getting a discount. Not, oh, I thought I was getting a discount. Why are you so open? Why is this discount like this every day? This will help you. Using this tip, we received a contract that was right under $1 million with USDA rural development because they had asked for 1 training course. I provided a library of training courses and gave them a discount. I color coded it, bang, bang, boom. We were awarded a contract where initially they wanted 1 class. In response to what I'm about to talk to you next, they bought all of these for almost $1 million. The next area is market research. This is where they're really testing the waters. They may have a requirement, they may not. They are just gathering information. And this works out really well, especially in the federal space when they know you. So when it came to the rural development opportunity I just talked about, I had a connection with a small business rep. I talked to him about our training, what we offered. He then connected me to another individual within rural development who was looking for training courses. And I love taking opportunities and growing them. I would like for the agency to say, no, I don't want it, instead of on my end, making myself smaller. Wait a minute, hold on. They only asked for 1 course. Let me give them 1 course. No, because businesses don't do that. Look at Costco. You go into Costco, they got a $1.50 glizzy or hot dog. There's free samples galore. You may have just gone in there for your monthly supply of paper products and maybe, one of the specials of the week. Instead, you were like, oh my gosh, this coffee I tasted was great. They're also offering, free samples of this energy drink. And let's say none of these items were on your shopping list, but you buy them. Why? Because you tried them out. They were presented in front of you. That is no different than what we did when it came to the example with the USDA. And that is what you want to do anytime you respond to a market research opportunity. You're throwing everything out there. You're giving them so many different options. You want them to say, oh my gosh, wow, we really got to think about this one. There's a lot there, but I know I want to go with them. On the state and local side, there are opportunities where you may not have to do as much writing. You may not have to give something as formal because there are those situations where due to your relationship and their procurement rules, they may be able to give you something simply because you are a registered vendor. You may be able to get away with just providing a brief 1-page outline or just giving them some type of catalog. Keep in mind, At the state, local education side of government contracting, their rules and regulations tend to really vary. Where with the federal side, being that I've been in this space since 2007, I have always had to submit, whether it was yours truly or somebody on my team, always had to submit something in order to be awarded the opportunity. Whether that opportunity was for $2,000 or that opportunity was for a $23 million contract. Didn't matter. When you provide your response to these opportunities, follow their requirements. Often they will want pricing in Excel. They will want the documents saved as PDF. Just follow their instruction. If you come across any kind of tech issues, make them aware and try to resolve it as quickly as possible. If you need to mail something to them, don't wait till the last minute. Don't use United States Postal Service. The preference is FedEx or UPS or DHL, but make sure that is acceptable. You never know. A state, an institution of higher ed may have a shipping and receiving setup where they take their mail and run it through scanners. I know, you never know. That may cause a delay, that may cause more time. So instead of, oh my gosh, just due tomorrow at noon, okay, that's perfect. I can send it at, 9 a.m. But can you find out ahead of time? Regardless of the solicitation type, always ask questions. The more you know, the better position you are in. And in the majority of these opportunities, they outline exactly what they're looking for, and they're just waiting for businesses like you to respond. So like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Until next time, everything is possible. Take care, y'all.